Hello everyone, this is Hugo from Ichiban Studio, and today we're going to be looking at the AK Interactive weathering products. So today this is going to be a pretty long video because we're going to be looking at each individual products itself, and we're going to be doing I'm going to show you how to use these individual products. I think the only products I won't be touching today will be probably the fresh mud, because I don't have to use it right now, but I'll explain to you how to use it. But all the other ones, the washes, the rust, the streaking effects, the chipping effects, the worn effects, and the other thinners, we're gonna be looking at each of them and how to use them. So basically, in the description, if you're looking for how to use a specific products, you're gonna see which products and at what time in the video they are. So from left to right, at the bottom we have the winter streak grime. Then after that we have the rust streak, the streaking grime, then wash for dark vehicle, enamel, those are all enamel products, okay? And then you have the wash light rust, fresh mud, worn effects, and chipping effects. The worn effect and the chipping effects are for acrylic. And then on top we have the AK odorless thinner, then after that the white spirit, and then the pigment fixer. But we're going to look at each of them individually and how to use them, so you're going to have a better view, a better idea of what they are and how to use them. Here is going to be our work model. For the worn effect and the chipping effect that you're going to see next up, we're going to use a different model, but it's not going to be a model, but a different surface to show you how you can implement the worn effects and the chipping effects. But you can see it here, the chipping effects was done on this one to make the camouflage that was under the white show out and look like really worn, and it came out like you can see here and things like that. But you're gonna see that, but this is gonna be on the model that we're gonna use the washes and the streaking effects and everything to work with them and show you how you can work with them. So this is an example of what you can achieve. Here you have the side of the tank. This is still not complete, but you have the side of the tank here of the Storm Lord that you can see some of these streaking effects that are in use. They're not, like I said, totally finished, but you can get a little taste of what's coming up next. So we're gonna be going and looking at how you can actually use each of those these products individually. First up, we have the worn effect, heavy chipping effect, and these two liquids are mainly a replacement for the old technique that was called the airspray technique, which basically uses airspray to chip paint off of a vehicle, so actual chipping. The problem with the airspray technique is that sometimes with some airspray it doesn't work, or it reacts funny with your paint and everything, and the AK Interactive solution for that is way better. And also the worn effect and the heavy chipping have different different characteristic, if you want, that the worn effect is not going to chip as much as the heavy chipping, so it's in the concentration in the products they use that it makes them work differently. So let's go see how they work and how can you use them onto your models. So first up, we're going to be doing, like I said, the heavy chipping and the worn effect. The heavy chipping is going to be on this side, on the left side of the thing, the plate, and the worn effect is going to be on the right side. The first thing that you have to think about when you're going to use these two products is the coat or the finish of your paint. If you're looking at glossing or varnish, you don't need to do a satin varnish or a gloss varnish using these two products. The reason is that these products are not really aggressive and won't really damage your under layer of paint. Another reason for that, and why I like to leave it stock or flat varnish, is because if the surface is really smooth with the gloss varnish or the satin varnish, it's gonna actually make the chipping effect or the worn effect even more predominant, because it's a flat surface, so the it's a glossy surface, so the chipping effect and the worn effect cannot actually grip onto it. And so when you start using the effect, and you're gonna see a little bit later on in the tutorial, when you're actually starting to chip the things, the paint has nothing to bond onto it, so which actually makes it a little bit too much of the effect. So remember that if you want to do this effect and have a difference between the worn effect and the chipping effect, I would suggest you using a flat base or straight on your base coat. So that's the little thing. So let's get started. We're gonna start by the chipping effect now. So for using the chipping effect, all you have to do is put it straight up in the airbrush and then start airbrushing it on the surface. You have to be kind of careful because this stuff, it doesn't really adhere and bond really well with the paint, so don't do too thick coats, and try to keep it like, you know, a really thin coat, and you apply 2 to 3 coats of each of the effect that you want, and then after that you just have to base coat the color on top of it once it's dry, and you're ready to go. Now is where the magic happens. So once you did everything and your base color is dry, all you're gonna need is you can use a brush that has hard bristles, or cotton buds, or anything you could think of to scratch the surface, and you're gonna need water. So I have a clean water pot here. So basically all you want to do is you want to apply. We're gonna start with the heavy chipping on this side. So what you want to do is, first of all, you want to apply some color to your some water to your pre-existent coat of color. And what actually the water is going to do on top of this coat is that the water is going to loosen up the product, the AK Interactive product that is underneath, and then you're going to be able to, while leaving it penetrate the acrylic coat, you're going to let it work its magic, and then once you're going to be brushing it, it's going to start chipping it off really easily. So you just want to apply, and you can start to see it starts to happen in some areas. So you want to apply your water gently, and then as soon as your water is applied and it start working on this area, then you want to start and then just go and brush it with your brush. And you don't want to apply too much pressure, because if you do apply too much pressure, it's gonna chip the hell out of it, especially if you're using the heavy chipping. The heavy chipping lifts the paint off a lot. I'll do it here. Let's see. I'll apply a lot of pressure and you can see, but it can make some cool effects. Like you see now, it's like a trail. So if you want to make like a scratch, then it's gonna work. So depending on how you move your brush, if you move it like so in circles, then you're gonna create different kind of effects, like worn spot. If you just tap it just a little bit, then you're gonna create some more just small chips, like so in this area here. So it's not just the product itself that's gonna do the magic, but it's gonna be also how you rub it with what you're rubbing. If you're using a cotton bud is really nice to make some scratches. So if you want to make some scratches, the cotton bud is extremely good for that. So basically that's pretty much it. That's pretty much what it is to it of using the worn effect. And as you can see, you're gonna see when we move on the other side with the chipping fluid, the worn effect one, this is the heavy chipping. The worn effect one is a little bit more subtle. Okay, so basically that's pretty much it. We're gonna just wipe it off, just so you can see, because now there's a lot of water. So we're just gonna wipe it off. Then it also makes the paint crackle a little bit, and it's really nice because it really makes it look like there's the paint inside, especially if like you want to create a rust effect. So if you paint this area after with the rusty color, then you're gonna be able to create that bubbly effect that the rust happens on top. And maybe like wiping it off like I just did is not a good option, because it's gonna make the paint bubble off more, but you can just leave it dry. But for the purpose of this tutorial, I wanted to show you that if you wipe it off, it's going to do that effect of bubbles. And also, you know, I don't have a lot of time because we have to cover other products. So on the other side, let's put some water on the other side, and we're going to check what's the difference in the for the worn effects one, which is going to give you a little bit more subtle. In the model that you saw at the beginning of the video that I'm using for the other effects, that's the one I used on it. I used the worn effect one, just because I didn't want to have something too bad like that, because I didn't want to actually simulate paint chipping off. I wanted to simulate paint that is worn off. So you're going to see the difference in the effects. So same thing, you just want to work it out with your brush. And again, you see these kind of scratches will happen because it depends on how thick you put the worn effect in. underneath it, and it depends on the texture of your area. This is a really flat area, so it's a flat area is gonna almost have the same kind of results. But you can see that here there's it's hard to see with the light, but there's a smaller chipping. There's more smaller chipping that's gonna occur with the worn effect than the other one. But basically you could still achieve, if you only have one and if you only have the heavy chipping effect, you could still you know, obtain the same result, but it's just a matter on how you you actually chip the thing. But basically you can see it here happening. Then I'm just going really gently on it, and it's just creating some small scratches, some small chipping happening. And if I go crazy in one area, then I'm gonna create bigger scratch, but I'll have to scratch it more harder than if I do it on this side with the chipping, the heavy chipping fluid compared to the worn effect fluids. But that's basically it. My base coat now, it's a little bit funky because I didn't let it dry, because this was just for a tutorial purpose. But normally you won't have that orangey skin with your main layer of coat if you leave it dry long enough. But basically that's give you an idea of what the effects that you can create with it. That's why I use a black and a gray base, so that way you can really see it pop off. But your base, it's really depending on what you're gonna use. So you can use a rust base or kind of a primer base to simulate that the paint was scratched off and now it's on the primer but it didn't rust again. It's really up to your imagination and how you want to use it. It's just a medium to achieve this effect. So after that, everything you want to do with it, you're going to be able to do it, as long as you have the imagination to do it. So basically that's pretty much it. I'll let this dry, and then after that you're going to be able to see what it looks like not wet. The video magic. So here you have it all dried up, so you can really see the effect. More of a paint fading out here and getting more you know, like blasted, and some chipping in some areas. Here we have really a lot of chipping. There's still some paint chipping off a little bit, giving that dot, which is really nice for rust effects. If the rust is down, this is gonna, you know, recreate the little dotty that the rust can create when it rusts something. But basically you can see it here, the both fluid in action. So I hope it gives you a little bit of idea, and at the same time I hope it helped you figure out how to use these products. I can show it to you on the tank that you saw before at the beginning of the video, the Storm Lord. So here you can see the chipping effect. This side has the rust streaking, so it's a little bit more harder. But if we look at it from this side, hold on, this is a white tank and it's gloss, so it's hard to adjust the light. Hold on. Here we go. Sorry for the bad video making there, but you can see it here applied. This is just a worn effect. It's not the heavy chipping fluid, but you can still see there's some chipping happening, and the paint is fading out in some areas that you can see the original base coat, which is a tan, dark reddish brown and green camouflage that was applied on top of it. But you can see it here on this face, which is pretty virgin. Just this effect that was done, compared to if we look at the other phase that we started doing and started working with the streaking effect. So basically next up we're going to work with the washes, the AK Interactive washes. Here we have the washes, the AK Interactive washes. There's a bunch of other colors for the washes, but the ones that I use and I have is the light rust wash, and also the wash for dark vehicle. These ones, again, these are totally washes like you would normally use on your miniature, like acrylic based washes. But you're gonna see in how I show you how to use it, you're gonna see that you have way more control with an enamel wash, or also it's kind of the same thing with an oil wash. And you're gonna have to use white spirit or odorless thinner. The white spirit, in this case, the white spirit being a little bit stronger, will help you have a little bit more control, or being able to clean your work a little bit more easily with the white spirit. But again, if you're using the odorless thinner, you're gonna be able to create some nice effect. But again, we're gonna go see right now how to use them and implement them in a build. Okay, first up, we're gonna be using the AK Interactive dark wash for vehicle. But basically it's the same thing with every AK Interactive washes. The thing that you have to bear in mind when you're using AK Interactive wash, since they're an enamel, or if you're using because they behave a little bit like the same as if you would make your own oil wash, you need to use a synthetic brush. Don't put your Kolinsky Stable Air brushes into that stuff, because it's going to basically scrap them. So the first thing that is really interesting with some enamel wash is that you're going to see here, you can see how they flow really well when you apply them onto something. So now I'm just applying it here, and they just go in all the nicks and crannies. Now you might seem to see that I'm applying a little bit too much of washes, and it's perfectly all right. The wonder with working with enamel washes or oil washes is that you're going to be able to go back and actually correct all your mistakes. You don't have to do, if you would do this kind of stuff with an acrylic wash, you would have to actually clean it right when you apply it. I'm going to give you an example. If I wanted to go put some in the crack here, in the paneling here, now I have some overflow on the side of the panel here and here. If I would work with a normal acrylic wash, I would have to go and wash it, wipe it off right away, which is not the best, because sometimes they leave some marks and everything, and you have to do a whole lot of job. But with the enamel wash, you just go and keep doing your business. Of course, a tank like this one has a lot of paneling and a lot of washes that needs to be done, because every panel has to have wash in the cracks, and then after that every rivet needs to have some wash. So it's an extremely long process. But in the long run, it's going to be really paying off, because this tank will look stunning and really realistic. So basically what you just do is what I'm doing right now. You just apply your wash everywhere. You wouldn't need a demarcation line, every nicks, every panel, every outline. So here, the outline of this thing here, what you would do is take your brush and slap it in on the side, so that it actually, with the panel, is going to go and deposit right at the crack here. Sorry, I'm fumbling a little bit here. One thing I forgot, and my god, I cannot believe I forgot. The first thing that you have to do is, once your base coat is set and you're ready to do your wash for working with the enamel or the oil washes, you need to have a satin varnish or a gloss varnish, which will help the wash flow better, and also this will help actually protect your base coat. The enamel wash or the oil wash won't really damage your base coat that much. You could still apply it straight on without having the gloss varnish done. But the problem is that, first of all, if you have a flat base onto it, it's going to flow really bad, and a flat base is not smooth, so it has a lot of nicks and crannies, so the wash might go into there, and once you want to wipe it off, it's going to be really difficult to wipe it off. And also the other thing is that once we're going to finish this, and we're going to move and fast forward really soon when I'm finished talking, and then you're going to see me finish the whole model, and then once it's finished, we're going to go in the cleanup process. And the cleanup process, we're going to be using some white spirit or odorless thinner, which that one can actually damage your acrylic paint. So by using a gloss varnish, you protect your acrylic paint base coat, and then after that, you're going to be able to make sure that you're not going to scrap or take off the paint of your main base coat, and you're just going to take off the wash. So basically, I'm going to move in fast forward right now, and we're going to just finish the whole paneling on this side, and then we're going to move on into the cleaning process. So now the wash is totally applied. Only for video purposes, I only did the half of the tank because, you know, it's an extremely big tank and it would take forever for me to do it. And plus, you know, for filming, it's a really awkward position I'm working on right now. So basically what we're gonna do now is let it dry. And then after that, we're gonna move on into the cleaning part of it. One thing is that if you're wondering, enamel washes versus acrylic wash, not acrylic washes, but versus oil wash. The difference basically, here I have some oils from MIG. Okay, so basically the difference is that an enamel wash will actually dry faster than an oil wash. An oil wash would take a really long time to dry. The only difference is that if you would have enamel colors already and you would want to thin them down and make a wash with them, normally there's a problem with the pigmentation. So the pigments will get a little bit more chunky and it's going to be hard to flow as good as, for example, if you made your own made an homemade oil wash. But with the AK Interactive products, they already have a special recipe, which the enamel wash is really thin pigments and flow super great, super well. So you won't have the problem with that, and you're still gonna get a faster drying time, which enables you to work a little bit faster instead of waiting like, you know, 2 or 3 or 4 hours for your oil wash to start drying so you can clean it up. But we're gonna let this one dry out, and then after that we're going to move on into the cleaning phase of it. Now we're going to be moving on onto the cleaning part. As you can see, some areas, like for example, if I hold on a second, some areas like here where the wash actually went over the panel, it could look great, but it's not a really realistic look. So what you want to do is take, again, your synthetic brush, and you want to use some either odorless thinner or thinner, or you want to use some white spirit. For this I use white spirit because white spirit is a little bit stronger than the odorless thinner, so it's going to actually clean up the stuff better. And you want to take some white spirit and put it on your brush, and basically what you want to do after that is then go where you want to clean your area and actually brush it off like you just see here. So you just want to go in and clean up everything that you painted on before. I'm going to clean up these areas, so clean up the wash from there so it looks more natural, and you clean it up to the point where you are satisfied and happy. I can use a cotton bud to clean it up, and that's pretty much it. That's all there is to do. Just go in and make your model look pretty and make the wash a little bit more natural in the area where you don't want it to be. So that's really easy and not complicated to do. Why we wait until the wash is actually totally dry is that it's easier to wipe it off that way. If it's still a little bit wet, you might have a little bit more problems into cleaning up those areas than if it's already dry. So basically that's pretty much it. So I'm gonna finish this cleanup. You're gonna be able to see it in fast forward, and then we're gonna move on to the next product. Next up is the streaking effects from AK. So here we have the winter streaking grime, the rust streaks, and the streaking grime. These are the 3 colors that they offer in this range. And bear in mind, I don't have all the products from AK Interactive, but these ones for the streaking effects, these are the 3 that they offer. Basically, the winter streaking grime is a greenish grime. Then the rust streak is a really rusty color. And the streaking grime is more like a brown sepia kind of color for streaks. So the streaking grime and the rust streaks could be used in conjunction to simulate rust, or just grime itself, depending on what kind of model you're using. And then as you see, you also have the white spirit and the odorless thinner, because to use the effect to its full force, you're gonna need white spirit or odorless thinner. And actually it's recommended by the guy that designed these products, which is Ming Jimenez. I don't know if I pronounce his name right, but he actually recommends odorless thinner because it's a little bit less strong than white spirit, so you have a little bit more control. But we're gonna go see right now how you can use it and implement it on your vehicles or whatever project that would require some streaking. Okay, so now that the cleanup is done, we're gonna move on into, as you saw before, the streaking effect products. We're gonna start up with the winter streaking grime. Like I said in the previous segment, the winter streaking grime is a streak effect that is a little bit greenish, okay? And the way you want to apply your winter streaking effects is that you want to take a tiny brush, okay? And then after that, you want to go in where actually there would be like some kind of things like this, where the water would actually drip, or the things would come from the top and accumulate in this area. And then after that, this area will create some kind of like channel for it to drip over in a straight line. So you want to start with this area, and then what you want to do is you want to apply your streaking effect. Hold on, there was not enough on my brush. You want to apply your streaking effect like so. Now I just applied a little bit too much, but it's really easy to actually work with the streaking effect and then to shape it up the way you want. But you know, you want to keep it, some areas a big streaking effect, and some areas you want to keep it simple. But anyway, this is not going to be the final final look of it. The look of the this streaking effect is really going to come alive when you're going to be using the thinner at the end. But you're going to see in the next segment. But I keep it to some areas. You have to build it. This is a long process. It's not super a process that's going to be that fast. It's a process that you have to build up, because you're going to actually almost erase it all and just leave some marks into it. And it's also an effect that this is a winter tank, so it's white, so the winter streaking grime is gonna catch up a little bit more. It's gonna pop out more because it's green. But you can use also the normal streaking grime, which is a brownish grime, just to give it dimensions. You don't want everything normally grime, especially on a tank that is white, because of the winter and everything. It's not going to be the same. So exactly now I have the normal streaking grime, and I'm just going to add some a little bit into the pot here, so it's going to mix the colors in. And I'm going to do some independent streaks with that brown streak grime added up everywhere, where you would have some, especially these joints here would actually accumulate a lot of stuff, and maybe some oils gathered up in there for them. Technically these are floppy, right? They move around. So but if we look at the construction, that's what the construction tells us. So basically, yeah, you want to just work it out and work your streak and put it in the areas where it would actually accumulate, and you go with your flow, with the flow and what you see and think that looks nice. But you just do it like that, not everywhere, because some areas would not accumulate it. And the last part, I don't use a lot of rust for this build. Actually, on the Aquila itself, there's the Aquila. If I move the tank a little bit, the Aquila here is going to be painted like if it was rusted, because the effect that I wanted to do with the Aquila is that I wanted the Aquila to be like looking like they repainted it. So they painted the whole tank white for the camouflage, but then, since they are Imperial Guards, they wanted the Aquila symbol to still pop out, so they repainted it on top. So I want to simulate some rust over there, but I'm not going to use that much rust effect, the streaking grime. Now it's the rust effect that I have, but I'm just going to add it just a little bit in some of the places, especially these little knobby thing, because I think these ones would maybe rust a little bit, and maybe some 1 or 2 rivets, just so I have really a really nice dimensions in this build. But not on this build, but on this model itself. So basically now what we have to do is just wait for the streaking grime effect to dry, and then after that we're gonna actually go shape it up and give it its final shape. Okay, so now the streaking effect is dry, so now it's time to shape and make it look like real streaks. So basically what you want to do is you want to use odorless thinner. I have the AK interactive one, but you can use any type of odorless thinner that you have. or you could use white spirit also. The reason why we use odorless thinner for this one, or I use odorless thinner for this one, is that the odorless thinner is a little bit less stronger than pure white spirit, so it's going to give you a little bit of control. So basically what you want to do is you want to put the odorless thinner on your brush like I just applied, and you want to actually wipe it off. You don't want to have a lot of thinner on there, and basically what you want to do is go where your streaking is, and you want to start shaping it in the way you want your streak to be, and you shape it like that. And then this one, as you saw before, had a lot of actually effect in there, but then the more you play with it and the more thinner that you're gonna add, you're gonna get a little bit of a stronger or less stronger contrast. So if you go in areas like, for example, here where there's almost no streak, then I want to shape it because it's a little bit funky, then I just want to, now it's really actually hard for me to do it in front of the camera. The way the camera is set up, I can't really see, but you get the possibility of shaping it more pointy instead of just, if you just go like this, it's going to be squarish a little bit, so you get the ability to be able to shape it in the way you want and drag it out, so you have nice streaking effect. Basically what I'll do is, since it's really hard, but now I explained to you how you can achieve that and how you shape it, I will actually finish the whole thing off camera, and then I'll show you once it's done, so then you have a good way so you can see the before and after. So the before is now, and I'll just show you the after in a second. So here we have it. The streaking is pretty much done. Okay, one last little piece of advice when you're working on it. You know, like, take your time. Once you're shaping that's what I said. I could not do it really in front of the camera because I really have to be close and working with the tip of my, and be really precise to shape up the shape of my thing. And sometimes in the middle, like you see here, I did that clearing here to simulate a separation. It's, you know, making and taking your time is what's gonna make the streak look really realistic. Shaping it up so you're looking at the object where the water would be dripping, and you're putting the shape. Since this one is a round, it would be thicker here, and then it would go smaller and drip. This one is pretty large and squarish, and it has already a V shape, so it's gonna drip pretty linear. If it's just a streak from the side of a panel like that, here I actually didn't shape them up. I just realized I forgot. And they all gonna have different shape depending on what actually makes them drip. So taking your time to shaping them with your white spirit, and you're gonna have some nice effect. And then if you're not satisfied, let's first say that this one is more it has more color to it and more pop to it, then this one is more faded. And then if you want the faded look, that's all right. It looks like rain marks and things like that, and then you could achieve that. But if you want it to be more aggressive marks like these ones here, then you could actually apply it one more time and then redoing the same technique over again to be able to achieve your the look that you're looking for, the kind of like grime and an oldish look. So that's pretty much it for this last technique with the AK interactive stuff. So what do you guys think? Is this bad boy gonna look nice? I think so. From the look of it, the weathering is gonna be pretty badass, but still a lot of work to do on this puppy. So I really hope that this video helped you guys a lot to be able to understand how the AK interactive weathering products work and how you can use them and utilize their full potential. And if you have any question, you can drop down a comment in the comment section. I'll answer your questions. Please like and subscribe to the video. That helps me a lot. And also, if you're interested in buying some AK interactive products, I have a buddy of mine, Phil, from JB Models, and I'll put the links in the description. He has the whole range of AK interactive products and MIG and a bunch of other things that you can use for weathering and for your painting in general. So you can contact him and check out his products. He ships worldwide, so and at good decent price, so everybody's going to be able to buy some and start weathering the shit out of your vehicles. So this was Hugo from Ichiban Studio. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. I'll see you on the next tutorial or video. Cheers for watching.